Alright, hello everybody and welcome. We're Jim and Sam. We're on a tour right now. We're playing one show every day for an entire year. This is a brand new song. It's kind of about rejection.
It's not kind of about rejection, it is definitely about rejection.
Find me a way to get out of here.
We've been playing music together for almost 10 years.
Find me a way to get out.
And we've tried really hard to build a real following. But nothing we have done has worked.
We should see what happens if the only thing we do is focus on music.
We're gonna play one show every day for a year. We might be out of our minds, but we're really excited about it. We're Jim and Sam from Los Angeles, California.
Where are you two today?
We're playing a liquor store? Welcome to South by Southwest.
Live in Omaha, Nebraska, while we're cutting down a tree.
We're gonna be sweet to each other, and then we're gonna have sex on this.
No, Jim, definitely not happening.
We got married 4 months ago.
Start an argument, just say yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
It's like the honeymoon tour.
It's the Don't Get Divorced tour.
You're living the dream. You need to carry on chasing it because you're going to find it.
It's sold out. You excited?
I'm very excited. You made me cry.
There's so many beautiful people in the world. Thank you for doing this crazy thing with me. So here we go. Making something happen every single day.
Yeah, I'm calling it.
Jim, they're all coming over here.
All right, what's up, everybody? We're Jim and Sam. We're just passing through.
Hello.
Hi.
You're rustling. Hi, guys.
How you doing?
All right, how are you both?
Good. Long time no see.
Yeah, right? I know, it's a reunion. I was trying to work on the lighting a little bit. How's this? Does that work?
Yes.
That's a good look, right?
Beginning of a horror film, you know, it's just kind of perfect.
Can we get that ceiling fan maybe moving just to kind of get a little bit more of a dynamic background?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's a good idea because it gets my the hair blowing in the breeze, you know.
Lovely.
And I don't quite have the problem that the president has, where it would flap completely off the side of my head, my hair. It
Yeah.
actually stays more or less. How are you both?
We're doing good. Times are, you know, of course, crazy, but
We're doing fine.
We're doing fine.
Let's not get too positive right at the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is a place of love and of caring. So we'll just focus on the positive.
I think that's
love
great.
it.
Like the fact that a year and couple, I guess now it's October, so we met maybe in August or July. When was that
Yeah,
Traverse Festival?
I think around then, like August, July,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually, in this drawer here, I might actually have
when it was.
a piece of. I don't. I have memorabilia in this drawer, but I don't have the date.
Anyway, it's a year plus, and we met, and you guys were kind of just premiering it. Wasn't that the premiere?
It wasn't the premiere, but it was super close to the premiere. And
Okay.
we premiered it in Dallas, and then it was our Michigan premiere.
Yeah. it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Your
Our
Great
Michigan
Lakes.
Western. Oh.
Great Lakes premiere. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Sorry, Zoom is doing as. Hold on 1 second. I don't know. My computer just gave us like a million notifications. Okay, we're good. There we go. I'm so sorry about that.
No worries. I can always edit around it anyway. So
Good.
I mean, that's the beauty of not being live, is that we don't make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you could just trim it up. Well, yeah. So
Is this just an audio recording or is it a video recording?
Well, I do use the video if I have permission. I think I mentioned it to Danielle. So if it's not okay, you know, I know for sure that video, like my idea is to put up on the Filmwax YouTube channel as a video, as well as putting on but if you're not comfortable, we can just do audio.
no, let me just fix the angle for myself then. If we're planning on using this on.
Bring in the makeup in.
Let me see if I can get some more light for you if that's the case. Here, let's see. You know, just.
It's actually not too bad. It's a little hard. the light is a little hard.
You just open it up.
Is that helping at all? How's that?
Oh, I see. Now you've got the back. Yeah, I had that lamp over here before, and I thought, oh, that looks very odd. How it's just sort of right here.
Yeah, it is. It looks like you have sort of like a promotional beam going down, like at a festival or something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, no, we're fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay. Alrighty. So hi. We'll start again. So it's been about a year or so. You were just kind of you're in the earlier end of the festival circuit, I think, with After So Many Days. I had a bad verbal tick at the time. I couldn't say your film's title correctly. I've since sought help and managed to conquer that problem.
We
and
really,
you got it, and now you got it.
Yeah, we really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah. No, a lot of hard work and sorry.
Yeah.
I was terrified of getting it wrong. And I was so pleasantly surprised, or just, to find that you guys were also releasing, I guess, a soundtrack, if you want to call it that. It's from the documentary.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that just came out on Friday, called "Songs from After So Many Days."
Yeah, and it's sort of like a soundtrack companion album.
Right.
But yeah, it's
a companion is a good way of putting it, because I mean, in a way, is it the full versions? Yeah, it's the full, of course. Well, I listened to it actually on SoundCloud. It's the full versions of songs that you may have only heard in part. In fact.
Yes.
Yes.
So there are some songs that in the film you only hear parts of them, and then we kind of give it a full length. And then some of the songs were recorded during the tour, some after the tour. Everything inspired by the entire journey, though. So we kind of were like, oh, we want to put all of these things into one.
Well, it's good because I remember now, as I discuss it, things are my synapses are starting to do whatever synapses do. But that I was thinking at the time when I was watching the film, and I had not been familiar with your music, I had lived a life in denial and ignorance before that documentary, and then life started over again when I discovered you guys' voices. And I'm kidding to some degree, but I really felt frustrated that I couldn't hear the whole song, because I just thought, oh my God, this is fantastic. You guys are so good. I just want to hear the whole thing, but now we have the opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, well, thank you. And thank you for saying, a life of denial sounds like a terrible one, and a phrase that I'm going to use myself. I really like it. That was actually a choice when we were making the film, that, we didn't want it to drift. We really wanted it to feel sort of like a little bit more like a narrative movie, and not so much like a concert documentary. Because sometimes you watch a concert documentary and you're watching 3.5, 4-minute performances, and then it's a 3-hour movie, and it's hard you lose track sometimes of what's happening. So I think we knew we were going to have this record, and I think we felt like
let's save it for the record
and kind of keep that story moving.
Yeah, we didn't want it to be like a commercial for our music, but more just the music being a part of the storytelling.
Yeah. Well, let's trash some other music documentaries that don't do that decide to show the entire song. And then you can't build the momentum. No, but that's a whole other conversation. I don't know how much time we have, but really the music your favorite music documentaries. We'll say that even though this film, which is After So Many Days, is about your relationship with each other, but also as a creative partnership, and about your relationship with the music industry and with your audience, I guess, so there's a lot of relationships explored in this documentary.
Yeah.
And the music can sometimes almost take a second seat to that, but I would love to know, did you guys watch, I don't think we talked about this, if you guys had watched other music docs just for reference, or inspiration or whatever, we should also add that you directed the documentary as well.
Yeah.
You made it on this 365-day tour that you guys created, and you just shot it as you went, which is incredible. But
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, you want to?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, before we left, we watched a handful of documentaries just to sort
you
of,
did.
yeah, and not just music ones, but some of the music or performative ones that stand out. There was a Conan Can't Stop documentary that I think.
Which one?
Conan Can't Stop, I think it's
Oh
called.
yeah, sure. Yeah,
And-
I enjoyed that. Yes.
And I think, there were things we learned from every film we would watch. Either Sam would watch something and then she'd be like, hey, you got to watch this, or vice versa. That was one that we watched together. And I think one of the things that we were inspired by within that was there were these moments where it was just Conan eating at a dinner table with his wife. And it was low lit and it was blurry and it didn't matter, but you got so much out of those moments in regards to pushing the story along. And I think knowing that we're not trained cinematographers, we were just throwing a camera in our hands and we read the film every single day. I think watching a movie like that gave us a little bit of like hope and encouragement that like, oh, you need the camera rolling and you need to be
Capturing everything.
So
Yeah, and along that, on a totally separate, we watched Some Kind of Monster. The Metallica.
Funny. I was thinking of that. Yeah, go ahead. Therapy.
Well, and I think something that we both talk about in that is how, I'm not a fan of Metallica, but now I am after watching the doc, which is weird because they show you such, they show you ugly parts of these people, and they kind of really get into it and they don't hide anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think while we were filming throughout, we just were like, let's just capture everything, whatever is happening. And then when we were making the doc, we just wanted to make sure that we weren't leaving those things out, because that's like the embarrassing things and the uncomfortable things are what people want to watch and what people relate to. And so we tried to, as much as we could, have those things be a part of it.
Did you ever see? I know I can understand why at first you may have thought, oh, this, some kind of monster that's not going to be for me. I'm not going to connect with it. And then it surprises you, and you do. And sometimes they can be some of the best experiences because of that surprise. But did you ever see Anvil, the story of Anvil?
It's so crazy that I haven't, and it's one of those things that's been on the top of my list, and I know enough about it, but I wish.
Yeah.
You like that movie, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I did a lot. And because again, this was a band that would not have necessarily been on my radar. They were a Canadian hair band that were kind of popular as bands like, Quiet Riot and Anthrax, and I'm probably even mixing genres, but during that period of the hair band age of maybe in the 80s, and among hair band fans or metal fans, they were big, but they never really were able to quite make it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the story picks up late when they're already kind of way past there. The lead guy lives in Toronto, and he still hasn't given up on his dreams, although you sort of know, oh, this is pretty sad. But then there's these moments that come up in the film that are transcendent, and I found myself actually in tears because there's just this. I don't want to spend much more time on this other documentary.
No, it's good.
I apologize, I guess I'm really highlighting a moment where this guy who you just kind of think he's a bit of a clown, a bit of a loser, but as you get to know him, you fall in love with him, and that's the beauty of these films. Is a good filmmaker can get through that and show you the humane,
Yeah, I think.
humanity.
Well, no, totally. I had this thought, and I think it's related to what we're saying, but I had this thought this morning, and it was sort of more me just talking to myself. But I was like, I'd rather be brave than successful. And it was this weird thought of being brave in the sense of exposing who being honest. And I think that was sort of these things you're talking about with Anvil and in those moments where you fall in love with this guy, you're not falling in love with him because he's in front of thousands of people. You're falling in love with him because he's being vulnerable in a room, being honest, and you see yourself in those vulnerable moments. And I think
That's really good way of putting it. Yeah.
and I think that's something that for us, as we were making it, and there was a little bit of it took a little bit of us being uncomfortable at a moment, like, can we show this? My mom saw the film, and after it, she was crying. She loved the film, and she was like, I just feel so bad. You've had so many tough times, and I just was like, I guess we made a good movie. I guess. I mean, I guess that's like, but it was interesting that those things, anybody who's on the pursuit of anything, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be music. It doesn't have to be film. It could be anything. But there's just those tough moments, those in-between moments. And I think so much about us being musicians and our friends and contemporaries and the people we tour with, everybody's going through something. Everybody's struggling with something, but we rarely put that out there. It's rare. And because you don't want to just be, whining all the time on social media, but this was an opportunity for us to sort of pull back the wool on our experience that hopefully other people can relate with. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, absolutely. I think you really articulated what I had been going through. I have to rethink everything. I have to kind of go, maybe I'm doing the podcast the wrong, maybe I've got the whole wrong. I'm doing, it's okay. I'm doing okay.
You're doing fantastic.
So how has the year been? I mean, I know as of March, everything kind of probably imploded to some degree, although you had the album and the film to look forward to putting out in the world, right? That didn't get terribly, I mean, normally would you be on the road?
Yeah.
Promoting and touring with the album?
Yeah, we were just talking about that today. It's really weird to, put all this time and energy into something and then, release it.
Yeah.
And then as a band, especially two people who like our entire everything is to play live and to be in front of people and to have that human interaction.
Yeah.
To not have that is really weird and bizarre. But we're really grateful that we got to do a bunch of the film festivals beforehand, and we got to have that experience with the film. And then we did a bunch of touring before. But yeah, it's a little sad not being able to do that.
Yeah,
frustrating.
But on a positive note, I do think that there's something hopefully with this film. What's cool about it is I think it gets to travel when we can't. In a way, it's like it gets to tour when we can't tour, and I never thought that would be, the situation, but it is, and it's kind of cool in that way.
Yeah, it's us as musicians. I think this is a really new experience for us where I think filmmakers in general, you make a movie and then you're there for the premiere, you see a couple of screenings of it, and then that's it. Then it lives on and you kind of continue on to your next project. But as a band, you're like showing up and playing the song over and over again, and it's changing and you're evolving. And I think this is a really, we're gaining a whole new respect for filmmakers and for actors and for people who are part of these projects that then they just move on to the next thing or they're waiting for their next project or whatever. I think it's been, I don't know, for me, a big learning experience of letting something go and then it lives on and has its own life. And somebody can be watching it in Michigan and we're sitting in Los Angeles and they're having some experience like you have with Anvil maybe, and they're crying and I have no idea. I'm just like at home manic worrying about what's next, but they're watching this thing. So I guess that's art starts to just take on a life of its own.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll hear from your fans and the people that do experience it. I think, it's a tall order for, to get that documentary in front of eyes, when you're, when we're all kind of at home right now or not able to tour or to, we're limited by how much we can promote. So,
yeah.
So if you're watching or listening to this, please check out Jim and Sam. wearejimandSam.com is the website. And the film is called After So Many Days. And it's going to be on, I guess, a number of different streaming platforms as of October 20th. It's coming right up. I guess Apple, is it iTunes?
iTunes, Amazon.
iTunes, Amazon, and then the list goes on.
Tons
But
of other
if you go to
platforms.
aftersomanydays.com, that'll have all the information you need for where you can kind of watch it.
Right. Okay, good. And so support these musicians. And I was able to catch your conversation with William Fitzsimmons. I mean, he seems to keep popping up on our conversations.
Yeah.
And were you gearing up for a tour together?
We did.
Or
Oh, go ahead. No, when did we get off that tour with William?
We did a tour last year, the first half of last year. I think we
right.
did.
That's before I met you guys, right?
Yes, right before we met you,
yeah.
Or maybe in between. We were like on one leg and about to do the next leg.
Yeah.
But we did about 40 dates together with him, both in the U.S. and over in Europe and Germany, and
it was so fun.
It was the best.
Yeah, it was like, especially now you go back and you think about that stuff nostalgically, and it's just like it's summer camp, and you're just I think it's also like a lot easier right now when we're all stuck at home to fantasize about tour and how great being on the tour bus is. And then you think about the tour bus and you're like, oh wait, I was eating sandwiches and gas station coffee every day. But still, there's just
and the smell of the van. I mean, we don't have to get too deep into it, but it was it's and you don't even know.
If you could just bottle it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and it's got to be a scale down, right? It's got to be fun because you also don't have as many personalities, perhaps, to have to manage. I imagine if you had full bands and all that, but it's typically like, let's say on that tour you just described, it's you two, and it's William. And does he bring like any percussionists or anything like that?
He brought his producer and multi-instrumentalist, this guy Adam Landry, who's incredible, and they operate kind of like a bandmates, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Like what you're describing is that every band is a series of relationships or marriages within the band. So
then we also had a sound guy and a tour manager and a backup singer. So there was a couple of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You have all those people with you?
And the tour manager, this guy Mario, him and William, they were working together for 10 years, so that becomes like bandmates. So if you're worried that there wasn't enough drama in the van,
there was plenty.
There was plenty of drama throughout our our run together.
But you gotta have the drama.
I guess you do.
Yeah.
And is there much writing on the road? Are you guys able to? Is that a myth, or are you guys able to do more than just sort of fine tune and continue to work out the rough edges, or what?
It goes. In general, I think it's tough. I think it is tough because every day, we talk about this actually, and there's something really healthy, at least for the fleeting mind, which I think a lot of creative people are, and a lot of times you get really distracted or inspired. There's something about when you're on tour, you have a task, and there's like there's 4 tasks for the day. Like get up, get in the van, get to the next place at a certain time, sound check, play, and then you play the show, and you're like, we did it. Like we did a great job. Where when you're home, when you're there,
or not a great job.
We did a job. We did a job.
Yeah.
And then when you're off tour, the tasks change, and then you're home, and you're like, you can actually shift those tasks to like, let's write, let's finish this song, let's work, and you can kind of. But a lot of for both of us, I think part of it, and you see this in the film. There was so much inspiration we were drawing from the tour that we were writing throughout that tour, and we were recording whenever we could with different musicians, and that's kind of where the album came out of, was that. But that was a unique experience where
that doesn't usually happen. We did write a song with William on the road, didn't we?
We wrote a verse, and that's what happens. You write like you have these moments on tour where you write like the greatest verse ever, and then you're like, oh, it's time to get on stage, and then you get on stage, and then you have a beer and you forget. So
we should finish that song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you can, once you have the kind of the structure in place, you don't hardly need to be in the same room to finish the song or to collaborate like that.
No, you're.
And I'm gonna direct people to, I don't know if it's still online, but that conversation you guys did on his Instagram live was really great. I mean, as far as just talking to songwriters, it's a very, very inside baseball conversation about songwriting and inspiration and ideas of what success are versus, I guess, the other option. But it's worthwhile to watch. I think there's some nice things that are brought up, and I know that I could relate to, and obviously there's so much mutual admiration going on that conversation as well. So it was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, Williams, we can't say enough great things about William Fitzsimmons.
And he's also so good at he's just really good at that. Like he was.
Turns out, right?
Yeah, it was the first time that we've obviously done that. It was the first time he was doing it. I was like, damn, William. I was like, you're really good at this. Yeah.
Well, he's on Joseph Arthur's podcast, which is also a video podcast. He was doing it before the pandemic as a video podcast. And anyway, so it's, I don't know, do you guys know him?
No.
I know a little bit of Joseph Arthur's music. Yeah, great art.
So William was on that. So maybe that also kind of thought maybe William was inspired a little bit by that, because he saw before, as a musician, or a songwriter, you're not supposed to do that kind of stuff. You have to kind of create a mystique and just sort of show up on the glow of the stage with your music, And but now it's sort of like things, especially under this, like people want to keep themselves. First of all, we're all hungry for engagement, right? Mm-hmm. and connection, and then also, it's nice to keep yourself out there on people's radar. So it makes sense that William might want to explore that part and maybe do a few more of those.
Totally.
And you create all these relationships. My goodness,
Yeah, it's a great way to. It's a great way for. Yeah, it's just a great thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like you finally have time to explore these conversations that you don't get to do.
Yeah, and I think
busy,
Yeah, no, and I think why I would imagine William or anyone is getting more into, and we're I think it's something that we get kind of really excited, even just talking with you. At the end of the day, it's about creating empathy for other people, like gaining empathy for other people, but then also being more open, because we're all, especially right now, every musician is dealing with some form of mental health. Every human is dealing with some form of mental health.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think right now more than ever, people need to know they're not alone in whatever struggle they're dealing with, because the pandemic has just made all of our idiosyncrasies and insecurities, it's just amplified all of them.
That's true.
Where I'm a mess. So anybody, like if anybody else feels, like again, it's just you talk to anybody.
We're doing great.
We're doing fine. We're good. We're okay.
But it's good. But it is. It's good to know that. It's good to know that we're not alone in our. We're not. None of us are alone in our crazy. We're all going through it a little bit.
Okay, so you've been essentially, I'm sure now. LA has been hit hard, in the last number of months. So maybe I can't jump to conclusions here. Also, I don't know if the fires affected the environment, the atmosphere, breathing, etc. But I mean, are you guys have been spending even more time possibly together? Perhaps because of the touring, being married, all this, you're used to being together a lot.
We are.
Were you? Yeah. I mean, you set up a life. How do you, on a practical level, give each other the space you must need, and etc.? I mean, is it just a matter of, well, I'm going into this room, or I'm going to go for a walk, or
we could probably be better about that. I think we're so used to we spend a lot of time together, probably more than anybody spends.
Yeah.
Except for maybe like two 92-year-old people that are just like chilling in chairs.
Right, but they're just chilling in chairs.
Like
and they can't hear or see themselves.
Yes. We should probably take some more walks and go in different rooms.
Yeah,
I don't know. You guys seem to have figured something out.
Well, this is a performance right now, and
is this. I can't stand.
exactly.
I can't stand either one of you.
Yeah. Like we're being vulnerable but not truthful. I mean, it's just very important. There's two difference. We no, I think the our relationship, I think we are very, to a fault, very vocal about when we're pissed off or when we're upset or when we need space. And even, I've been suffering from slight OCD, and last night, yeah, it's gotten worse again. Like it's gotten worse during the pandemic, especially with the masks and all this shit. And last night we had been staying up at a, my uncle has a house up in the hills, and we came home and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And part of my OCD was, did I leave the oven on? Like I couldn't stop thinking, did I leave the oven on in his house? Like, and then it's probably an hour and 15-minute drive round trip to go there at 10 p.m. on a Sunday. And I'm like, and I go, I might have left the oven on, but I definitely need space. So I'm definitely going to go for a drive. Yeah, and I just was like,
win-win.
Yeah, I'm going for a drive. So I think
and you have to hope that the oven's on. I mean, there's a little disappointment if it's not.
The house was burning down. No, it was fine. Everything was fine.
Yeah, but it could have been anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a terrible thing to say. I apologize.
No. Especially now.
Oven is off, but it was good. You took the drive.
Yeah, you got some space.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Well, behind that door, this one here.
Yeah. Yes, that one over there.
There's a 16-year-old teenage. Well, there's a teenager. So I don't know if you could hear him, but anyway.
How's that? So how has that been? I mean, have they been? You've been together nonstop? Yeah.
Well, only for a couple of weeks now, actually. Yeah, it's just been a couple of weeks. Because I was just, he was here before that. I just wasn't talking to him.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Yeah, no, he just came back. He was with his mother in Los Angeles all summer, and then just recently he came here, and the idea is that he's going to be here now through till she finishes this job in LA. So I'm very happy about that.
That's
and it's a small place, but I gave him the bedroom, so works out.
Yeah.
That's
a teenager. He must have his own bedroom.
Yeah, I think that's smart.
That was smart.
Yeah. There's really no choice about that.
These next couple weeks, wherever if I imagine my childhood having a pandemic like this or this experience you're about to have, that's so unique. And you're going to learn so much about each other, I think, over the next couple of weeks. It's very cool.
Oh, well, we were together at the beginning of it, so we learned a lot. Actually, he was with me when the lockdown started, actually. I haven't even told you, I left New York City. I was living in New York City. I left. And I'm now north of the city. I'm in the Hudson Valley.
Oh, nice.
You guys have toured so much, you probably know where I'm pretty close to Bard College in Rhinebeck.
Yeah,
we love it so much.
It's amazing up there.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I'm happy here. But we were still down in the city then at the beginning. I came up here in June, late June.
Okay.
And so he had been with me from sometime in February till mid-May. So we had the most intense period, because back then we had we were all terrified to go outside, just to get you just wanted to kind of get out, do what you had to do, get back in and boil your body of any possible, germs or anything. Yeah. And we were all afraid that you get it. And, it was just a very scary time, as you remember. So we were together then. And then I had a family loss right then too. So it was a very intense period. This is by comparison, it's much more fun. We spent the weekend at a house we have in the woods, and just chilling out with a cousin of mine and camping out and making a fire and an intentional fire.
Yeah, exactly. It's so great you're able to be up there, and if I could, that's one of the places in the U.S. if I could pick a place for us to be rather than on top of each other where we are right now. Like you just sit with neighbors and whatnot. It's so cool you're up there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
This is a really new. I mean, I have to. I was in New York, living exactly like you just described it, and I just when all this stuff happened, it just broke my. It just moved up my schedule a bit, because I had been wanting to move up. This is like one of the only areas I could feel like I could move to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get
There's
that.
not a lot of choices, you know.
Yeah.
And typically there's so much music up here too, and film and stuff, and you know, it's there's little bits, but it's by and large it's not happening right now, obviously for obvious reasons, but there's normally so much music up here. I mean, I'm minutes from Woodstock and Saugerties and Hudson, New York. I'm in the heart of all these very kind of cool progressive towns where there's lots of arts, you know.
I know you. That was the one thing about the Hudson Valley that was so. It's interesting because in California, you kind of get to the mountain towns, and you don't get a lot of artistic anything going on. But that's what's cool about New York is you get to those towns, and you still are holding on to that cool cultural, artistic side of things.
We stumbled into like a cafe that had some open mic going when we were up in Rhinebeck.
Oh yeah.
That's right here. Yeah.
Yeah, right in Rhinebeck. And there were about, I would say every single person that played, I was like, they're fantastic. But then there was this guy who went up who was like probably early 70s.
Yeah.
And he just went and like sat at the piano and he sang this poem. He sang a song, but it was a poem, but it was like, it was one of the most beautiful performances and pieces of art I'd ever heard. I'll never see the guy again. I went up to him and I was like, he just wrote it because it was just something, you know.
Really political or something.
Yeah, so
right?
well, something had just terrible in Charleston. It was right after the shootings in
Yeah,
Charleston,
yeah.
and there was a total eclipse of the sun, like right around that time, and he wrote this really just overwhelmingly perfect piece, and it was just here we are in Rhinebeck, New York. This guy, Jen, he's like, that's it. He's just maybe he's retired, maybe he doesn't even pursue it as a full-time
We're
thing.
like, we should move here.
Yeah, so we love Rhinebeck.
Well,
Yeah.
I could be your broker if you ever do decide to make the move. I'll find you a place and
Okay.
we'll bring music back to. I'm certain by. I don't want to be too optimistic, so we'll just say it will return like it will in everywhere. We're all starving for it, and so we just have to really kind of be a little patient for a little longer, cross our fingers, hope things go well in the fall, and then a vaccine hopefully by maybe summer of next year. That'll be a done thing.
Yeah, and then hopefully things will move back to normal.
Well, like I say, I mean, people are really missing you guys, and by you guys I mean you and all of your colleagues and compatriots. I mean, it's so you'll have a hard time finding venues because
I know
everybody's going to be out there wanting to tour again, and
it's going to be well. I think I think there's going to be a lot of, in a really positive way. I think there's going to be a lot of collaboration.
Yeah.
That you didn't see before. I think we're going to realize, and we're already seeing it in that conversation with William and our experience with William. We need each other. Artists need artists. So I do think that there is going to be, not to sound too precious, but I do think it is going to be a lot of that. And I think you're going to go to see a show in early 2022. It's going to be very rare that there's not 3 to 4 bands all playing, and there's a lot of, which is,
literally bands are going to be so excited to get out and play. It's just going to be, it's going to be good.
And then it's going to be like, guys, we're just taking it out to the parking lot.
Yeah.
We're going to just light a bonfire and go all night. If you want to join in, it's cool.
Yeah,
exactly.
Light up. We'll pass around a bottle. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Totally.
We deserve that, for God's sake.
Yeah, we all do.
After the amount of difficulty and just the amount of trauma we've all been coping with for years now.
I know.
We deserve a nice big, orgy of music.
Yeah.
Amen.
Exactly.
Anyway, so the documentary is currently available. It's called After So Many Days. It's about Jim and Sam. They're just committing to performing, regardless of audience size, for one show a day for 365 straight days in a year, and they do it. Well, I just let the.
That's okay.
It's okay.
We do.
It's okay.
They do it or they don't.
All you need, we do it, but the ship sinks is all you need to know.
Well, there's other good news that could or could not happen as a result that may or may not happen at the end of the film.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
so,
exactly.
yeah.
There's,
Just a couple cliffhangers.
there's some dots.
Yeah.
Yes, there's the ellipses.
Yeah.
And on the 20th, the album, After So Many Days, the songs from, what's the exact title so I don't botch it?
Songs
It's an
from
all new opportunity for botch, an all new title. So
Yeah,
exactly,
perfect.
exactly. It's songs from After So Many Days, and it just came out.
Yeah, so that's out Spotify, Apple, all the places you find music. And then the film,
is there an
iTunes,
actual
Amazon.
physical media of it too?
There will be. That'll be when we hit the road. We'll have vinyl and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
But
right.
right now,
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes
right now it's all in a digital space, for
Yeah.
better or worse.
For better and for worse.
And for worse.
Well, it's for better.
I think
I think, and in a way, it's a whole other conversation maybe for next time. But you know, it's kind of financially, it's makes a lot of sense, right? And it's a good thing.
totally.
It gives you you can postpone that, you know.
Yeah, no, it's. I think at the end of the day, the fact that as a musician specifically, you can, your music can be out and everybody can find it and they can say, "Hey Alexa, play," and it's all there the day it comes out. I think that's pretty cool. So
If you're interested, go to wearejimandSam.com, sign up for the newsletter, get all the updated information and details about your the film, the soundtrack, the future tours, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, soon, hopefully.
Okay, great. This has been a ton of fun. Glad to see you guys again.
Thank
So
you
good
so,
to see
so
you.
much for having us again.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adam.
Enjoy
you don't have
the
to-
Hudson Valley for us.
Now, you don't have to perform live this time. I mean, it may make less sense on Zoom to perform. But I was gonna see if my son would come out, but I'm getting some weird audio problem on my end. Anyway, maybe next time. Are you guys there? I think we accidentally cut out, so we just got lucky with that. But anyway, I'll wish them well, Jim and Sam, and we will put the links up for all the things we discussed during the podcast. And I hope they're well.